Yo, what is going on, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about the upcoming patch, which will probably drop right around 30 to 35 hours from now. Now, I have a lot of information to talk about, beginning with what's going to change in the game, man. What's going to change? Obviously, we have Homelander coming in. Homelander's coming in literally tomorrow. We also have a combat cast. Normally within the combat cast, they usually don't talk about the balance changes too much. To be honest, guys, this balance patch may not even be that big, considering Final Combat is right around the corner. So I don't see him changing too much, but you never know. You never really know, especially with NetherRealm. So let's just get right into it. The number one thing that I think is going to be patched within this upcoming update is Chameleon. Obviously, a lot of people have been complaining, griping about Chameleon, saying Chameleon's a little bit too busted. Some people thinking Chameleon's not even busted at all. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people thinking cameos need to be buffed up to Chameleon. But me personally, so the way I'm going to do this video is I would say my personal changes, and then I'm going to tell you what I think they'll do, obviously with just the knowledge I have with knowing NetherRealm for all these years, right? So the way to change Chameleon, obviously right now, is the ball roll is a little egregious, right? The pushback on the ball roll and the fan lift. Now, the fan lift, whenever you're able to use it, it actually gives you a few frames of invincibility, meaning that even if you hit your opponent when they do the fan lift, they're still going to cross you up, and in a lot of times they'll actually punish you for trying to punish them. I know everyone has dealt with that. I know everyone's gotten hit by that. It's actually egregious. It shouldn't be in the game. They need to fix that. Now, the ball roll, I don't care that it's invincible on wake up. I don't care that it's multi-hitting. The only thing that I would change about the ball roll within Chameleon is the pushback. With some strings in this game, specifically Ashrah, you can do ball roll on block and be relatively safe amongst the entire cast. It's not okay. Now, what I don't want to see happen is them completely kill Chameleon, right? Well, like they've done with a lot of other cameos, you know, for say Cyrax, right? I know Cyrax is a little niche. I know that a lot of people play him with Kenshi, including myself. But outside of that, man, they really nerfed Cyrax wrong. They completely took away his availability, and you know, you hear people say a lot of times the best cameos always have something available, right? That's what they always have, and they need to keep that formula with a lot of their cameos. Unfortunately, what we see is they're nerfing a lot of cameos like Striker by just maxing the cooldown. And I don't agree with that. I really do not agree with that at all. I think that just makes people use the next best cameo that is more available, right? I don't also like seeing the health nerfs. You know what I'm saying? Like you pick a cameo and then they take 100 health. I don't like that either. I feel like there's so many other ways to balance cameos than just taking health and also completely killing the cameo. I think there's so many different ways. So all they need to do to Chameleon is reduce the pushback on the ball roll and just make the fan lift not invincible, right? Because in my opinion, boys, and this is going to segue into my next opinion, by the way, of what I think they should change this patch, is you should never be able to do an armored move into safety, ever. I do not agree with that whatsoever. Never, ever should you be able to wake up against someone that knocked you down and then get into complete safety, and a lot of times actually get the advantage on the screen. That should never happen, right? So that segues into my next opinion here. I've gotten all these written down, but my next opinion that needs to be changed this patch is armor, specifically a couple of characters, right? Peacemaker, Kung Lao, Ashrah, Tanya, characters that either have safe armor or launching armor, or both. And in this case, Kung Lao actually has both. But I don't think you should ever be able to do an armored move into safety. I just don't agree with that. I think that takes away a lot of the fundamental aspects of fighting games, right? There should never be a time where you knock someone down, you physically hit them, and then you have to guess, and it's never in your favor. That doesn't sound fundamental to me. It doesn't sound, it kind of reduces the skill gap a little bit, right? Take for instance, right? You knock Kung Lao down, right? It's your guess if he's going to wake up, right? So either you block knowing that he's going to armor, or you jump. Now here's the thing, when you jump, you completely give up your Oki, right? You completely give up your free meaty that you should be getting for hitting the person in the first place, right? And it's never in your favor, right? Because what happens when you jump, he does nothing and just armors again, because it's going to be safe. Not only is it going to be safe with Goro, it's going to be plus on block, which is, I mean, that's just egregious, guys. They have to change armor. Now, the way that I think they should change it is just make it to where you can't use a cameo after armor. That literally fixes the entire issue. I don't think you should be able to use a cameo after armor anyways, in any situation. Now, after regular special moves, whatever. But after armor, man, that's a little bit too much, man. Also, that ties into armored launchers. You know what I'm saying? And we got rid of armored launchers in MKX, and there was a very good reason for that. They were egregious, they were stupid, they should never be allowed within a fighting game. Armored launchers have got to go. Now, that's my opinion on armor. I know you guys have heard me harp on that so many times, but I'm going to get into character specific nerfs or buffs that I think should happen within this next patch. Now, I'm going to be going over a few characters. Actually, this is probably going to be the longest segment within the video, but I'm going to go over them one by one and tell you exactly how I would nerf them and what I think they're going to do. Okay, so I'm just going to start out with Ashrah. Okay, the only nerf that I think Ashrah should get whatsoever is make her armor completely unsafe. She should not be able to fly across the screen with multiple hits of armor. By the way, 5 hits of armor. 5 hits of armor. In what world is that okay? Like, I truly don't know. And people will always argue. They'll say, oh, Diddle, it's actually unsafe. You have to jump back. That makes no sense. Like, if your answer to someone waking up armor is to jump back, give up your meaty, give up your offensive pressure that you put them in, it's never a good design, and it needs to be changed. Now, do I think NRS is going to do anything about that? No, I don't. I truly do not think they'll do anything about Ashrah. Ashrah will probably stay the same until the end of the game. But boys, I promise you, we can hope. We can hope, because coming from a Kenshi main specifically, you have no idea how annoying it is to put someone in a guaranteed setup, right? I get them, I finally hit them, I walk them down across the screen, I get them, put them in a setup, and all they have to do is armor out for free, and then they're across the screen, and now I'm at disadvantage for putting them in that situation. You understand what I'm saying? So it's definitely not okay. It's not okay. Now, the next thing, I'm going to group these two characters together, actually. These two characters are grouped together. Tanya, Kung Lao. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. They're both kind of the same character, but I also believe that they're both top 5, okay? Tanya needs to be changed because of one thing. Her armored launcher. Again, that's got to go. Kung Lao, same thing, armored launcher, but Kung Lao's is actually safe on block. Guys, I know I'm going on a little bit of a tangent here with armor, but who at NetherRealm? Okay, let me give you a little bit of a little QA meeting here, right? Imagine NetherRealm's team gets together. They're like, hey, we really don't know how to design Kung Lao. And someone stands up and someone says, guys, I got a great idea. Let's give him safe armor. Oh, but that's not it. Let's give him safe armor, but also be able to make it plus. But not only that, let's make it launch. So he completely gets an OS on every single situation. And they're like, oh yeah, great idea, Jeff. Let's go ahead and put that in the game. Guys, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. It's got to go. 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 That is the dumbest thing within the game. I don't care how dumb you think Kenshi is. I don't care how dumb you think Reiko is. It doesn't matter. Kung Lao's armor has got to go. And I know a lot of people are going to make the argument, but Diddle, if you take a safe armor away, the character sucks. I agree with you. What they need to do is completely rework the character. Give him some better frames. Maybe make one of his buttons a mid. You know what I'm saying? He already has an overhead. It's not the fastest overhead, but it still works. So there is a character there that you could patch and buff up and make it good without that egregious armor. Because what it does, guys, and I know everyone watching this video, or everyone that's going to watch this video, I know for a fact you have lost to a Kung Lao player that is absolutely dog poop at the game. But you literally lost because all they did was armor the entire time, right? And now, as far as buffs go, I know a lot of people, obviously, within the YouTube section are going to say Subzero. I don't think Subzero needs a buff. I really don't. I think he's fine. Now, if they gut Chameleon and leave Subzero the way he is, then yeah, I could see maybe a few little buffs there. But I really hope they don't gut Chameleon, man. I really don't, because Chameleon works so well with so many different characters. They just need to tweak her just a little bit. But guys, I really don't know if any character in this game needs a legitimate buff. Now, you guys can let me know in the comments down below if you guys do think a character needs a buff, but man, I'm trying to think. Even Havoc, like Havoc may be like close to the worst character in the game, and even he is still really good. I mean, he's not bad by any means. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the roster here. I really don't know, guys. I mean, I think as far as balancing goes, this game is very balanced. It's just the cameo sides of things aren't really balanced. You understand what I'm saying? It's like all the characters, the main roster characters, they're all pretty good. They're all pretty decent. Obviously some stand out, but I really think that the cameo side of things really needs worked on, like Darius. You know what I'm saying? Like Darius works with like 2 characters. Why would anyone ever use Darius over another cameo, right? We see most of Darius's stuff whenever people were playing him with Reiko, but now Reiko is way better with other cameos. So you don't really see Darius at all. And honestly, guys, I don't know the answer to those things. You know, like I don't know if there's a correct way to balance cameos. You know what I'm saying? Because either way you look at it, you're always going to see people use what's best. And I don't blame people for that. I do the same thing, obviously. You know, if you're trying to win, you're going to use what's best. But at the same time, you know, how could you... here's the thing, right? Let me give you an example. You don't nerf Chameleon, but you buff everyone else up to Chameleon. People are just going to use what's better than Chameleon. If people aren't going to say, oh, I want to use this just because I like the cameo. No, why would you ever do that? There's always going to be a solidified cameo that does what you need to do better than another, right? So I don't think there's necessarily a way to ever do it. I mean, you look at other games like Marvel. Obviously, just like in that game, you see people using a lot of the same assists, you know what I'm saying? But the difference is they could actually tag out, you know what I'm saying? Like you could tag another character in. With this, you really can't, so it kind of makes it a little bit more, I don't know, apparent that some of the cameos or some of the cameo balancing is pretty messed up a little bit. But really, guys, I don't know how you balance cameos perfectly. I really don't. But if you guys have a solution, please let me know in the comments below. But really, I think always within this game's life cycle, we're going to have a solidified meta, and we're always going to constantly either change through metas or stay in one until the end of the game. You know what I'm saying? And right now we're in that Chameleon meta. You know what I'm saying? It started out Cyrex meta, then it switched over to Kung Lao / Striker meta, then it switched over to now Chameleon meta. So I think they're doing a lot of good job, especially with Motaro coming out. Motaro definitely changed up some things, but then they nerfed Mavato's damage, and Motaro also takes 100 HP. So it's like, why would you ever do that? You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't. You just wouldn't. So I don't know, guys. This was just some of my rambling thoughts. Obviously, I do believe that my opinion is probably right about this patch. I don't think they're going to do much, but I do think that they are going to tweak Chameleon, guys. Like, let's be honest, they're going to tweak Chameleon a little bit. I don't know if they'll nerf any characters per se. Maybe Kenshi. I know a lot of people want Kenshi nerfed, but truly, guys, Kenshi is not a problem. Like, Kenshi is very, very good, especially when he gets Sento out. But as far as all around, he's not necessarily that big of an issue. But I don't think they should nerf any characters. I don't necessarily know if they should buff any characters either. Again, I want them to take a look at the cameos. Cameos make and break this game. They truly do, right? You look at a character like... let's say, for example, Subzero. Subzero is a perfect example. Before Subzero, you know, a lot of people were saying he was super low tier, and you know, I would agree with you that he was kind of low tier. I mean, I thought he was still pretty good, but Chameleon really buffed him up, like fits his playstyle perfectly. So it's the same thing. So you nerf a certain cameo, it doesn't just hurt the cameo, it hurts the entire roster. So you really got to be careful with that. But guys, let me know in the comments below what you guys would do or what you would like to see in the patch, man, and we will catch you guys in the next video, baby. Later.